Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, welcome for another session. Poleni sana. I see a comment there. But anyway, guys, sorry. This will be brief because already um yesterday it's so funny that I made this video. I made a recording of this of not this video, but I wanted to upload a video about this very topic. But when I went to X, I saw that Francis Gaito actually addresses the same thing I'm about to talk about now. But that's why I want to go deep into it, because pretty much Francis Gaito ameshazungumzia hii topic about how Gachagua's impeachment was a ploy to pacify the Gen Z movement, to shift the focus away from what Gen Zs were advocating for, in order to tuanze kuwa distracted na mambo ya politics ya kawaida, politics ya ukabila, mara sijui watu wa Mlima Kenya, mara sijui watu wa Western, mara watu sijui wa Nyanza, of course. You see what I'm saying? So but anyway, I'll just give my little 2 cents on the matter, because I already scheduled it for a discussion. Okay, then I'll just have highlight the few tweaks here and there where maybe Gaito and I do not see eye to eye. Not really, it's not a big difference. It's just a difference of opinion, but the basic premise of the matter is pretty much the same. We argue the same thing. I agree with him probably 90% from his video. Go to my page on Kenya Revolutionary on X. You'll see I've retweeted it, and you can see Gaito's 18-minute explanation on how the Gachagua's impeachment is it's a ploy basically to to fool the Gen Z. But anyway, before we get started, we have to greet people. I see Annie already weka comment, ilikuwa jana ama sijui leo ama whatever the case is. But karibu sana Annie, if you're still there. If you're not, ni sawa naelewa. This was rescheduled. I had so much going on, so I couldn't come in and just get started like that. So nikashikana na mambo ilikuwa mingi. As I tell you, I'm still working on all my gadgets. They're all hacked, okay? And they're still being renewed. So I'm working behind the scenes to work on that. Nirekebishe maneno ndio, yeah? The culprits wapatikane na mambo ingine. Anyway, so let's get back to it. Let's start with the formalities. Karibu sana. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. If you are new to this channel is about Kenyan politics, or should I say Kenya politics. So karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana. We talked about Kenyan politics and international politics, or world politics as it relates to Kenya. So karibu. I'm in my break right now. I'm just having a break. I'm nakunywa soda. So I had to calm down. The temperatures are a little bit high, but I know you don't care. I'm not a pilot to tell you the temperature. You're probably somewhere in a different part. Whether you're watching from Kenya, Uganda, Europe, whatever it is, karibu sana, karibu sana. My hair is a mess as usual, but we shall rock on. The topic is how Gachagua impeachment was a ploy to pacify the Gen Z movement. Then I'll try to focus on the next step. What should the Gen Zs do? Because we understand that there are a lot of, we are being attacked. Gen Zs. When I say Gen Zs, I'm not talking about the age group or generational group, okay? When I say Gen Z, I'm talking about Kenyans with a progressive mindset. People who are looking at the system, this rotten political system, looking to overhaul it in its entirety, not just shifting one thug for the other. We're not going to shift Ruto just to put Matiangi or Gachagua or all these useless people to take over, because we shall have the same results, okay? That's why I usually tell you guys, if we keep on finding ourselves in the same position, whether it's since the Kenyatta 1 to Moi to who else? Moi to Kibaki to Uhuru to now Ruto. We keep on finding ourselves in the same spot because we are just choosing the same kind of people, the same people who belong in the same WhatsApp group, same socio-political group, okay, that are known, proven, okay, have a history of having integrity issues, but we still vote for them because we've been using the wrong metrics to gauge what kind of politicians we want. Now, I'm not saying that we should now make a point to choose people who are young just for the fact that they're young. I'm always against this argument when I hear a lot of people saying that, oh, this government, we lack young people. We need more young people in this government. And maybe just because you're young does not mean you're going to bring positive change. And the classic example is Morara and Casmuel, okay? These people already, they are probably, people who are paid to infiltrate the Gen Z movement in order to prop themselves up or be propped up by the state so that they can take over. They're the next generation of the same political class who will continue with the agenda of, trying to create a replica or keep us poor as their colonial masters would wish. I also told you about, Casmuel and Morara being invited in that dinner at the British High Commissioner's embassy, whatever the case is. And after that, now you see them, gallivanting around from one media station to the other. They are being given the limelight. That just tells you how, an indicator that these guys are, they're both. And they're even making fun of people, the Gen Zs now. That's how ridiculous it is. And also Fanyamambo. I'll get to the topic, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just highlighting what I'm about to talk about. This stuff that's happening. Fanyamambo Kinuthia. He's showing his face now. Oga is showing his face. Well, after he, took a picture when they were, announcing that they will have that revolutionary coalition. I guess Fanyamambo Kinuthia had a lot of backlash from his supporters or whatever the case is. And he came out and started apologizing for appearing with Casmuel and Morara. And then the next day I saw him on a radio station and he was like, why do you hate Casmuel? Just because, he joined ODM, so is that a reason? He was debating some guy who, I don't know. But whatever, what's his name? Fanyamambo Kinuthia was arguing that, from the snippet that I saw, he was arguing that we should replace, this coming general election, we should replace all the members of parliament, even if we don't get the presidency. And again, this just shows, lack of understanding of what's really wrong with Kenya. You're misdiagnosing the problem. You can change the whole legislative body with young people, but they'll still produce the same results as we have right now if we have the same presidency. Because again, we still live in we live in a system, this corrupt system that we have, this system that produces people like Ruto who do not respect the rule of law, do not care about the constitution, and they join hands with Raila Odinga and Gachagua, okay? They have absolute powers, and every member of parliament or member of the legislative body that is elected, probably will be elected from these political parties, these briefcase political parties, which are nothing but a racket or money laundering organization, okay? Which we know they vet, they make sure you're corrupt and you are going to pay your due, your extortion fee, before you get that ticket to run for MP or legislative body. So age is not the issue. Even if you replace the whole legislative body with young people without cleaning up the system, you're still going to get the same results. And the presidency still hold a lot of weight. So if Ruto stays as the president and you change the whole legislative body, do not expect them to impeach Ruto, because Ruto will basically co-opt them through bribery and intimidation and other ways, okay, to stay in power. And by the way, Ruto will still use the legislative body, the judiciary, which hasn't been touched yet, to maintain power. So you have to think holistically when you are talking about what is really affecting Kenya. I see nowadays we've shifted focus. Now we are still arguing about what Gachagua said yesterday. And Gachagua, to his credit, he has ramped up his rhetoric. Now he's like really talking more reckless than ever. He's even calling Ruto mwizi wazi wazi and dares him to say something against Kenyatta. This is part of the ploy, because he has ameona kwamba hapati ninio. He's not getting him enough attention, so he has to, amp the ante, okay, by saying as outrageous things as he may come up with, okay? So it can capture the headlines, capture the media. I saw the clip when he was in Githurai and everyone was like, hey, Gachagua ameamua, Gachagua. I mean, he's not saying anything new, okay? The only thing is now he's boldly calling, outrightly calling Ruto a liar. What's new about that? We know Ruto is a liar. See what I'm saying? But he's doing this because he's losing that, you know, with time, people are getting kind of exhausted with his rhetoric, his monthly or weekly or bi-weekly announcements or media circus, okay? Watu wamechoka naye. I mean, every press conference he calls, we probably know what he's talking about. Like, again, go check out that that Francis Gaito's take on this, which is basically similar to what I'm saying, with a little difference here and there, but we do agree that this whole Gachagua's impeachment was a ploy. Now, let me walk you through it before I actually get to the second part of this video that I want to address on my agenda, which I want to push now, because I want us to take the next step where the rubber hits the road, okay? Tunaweza kuongea siasa hapa mpaka Yesu arudi, but if the rubber doesn't hit the road, there will be no change. Ama namna gani? Okay, so let's get to it. Let me take a sip of my wonderful drink. It's hot today. And tafadhali, if you're watching, go ahead and hit the like button. See, the first order of business, how the first order of business. Hit the like button, okay? Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed if this is your first time. Anyway, Gachagua. Let me quickly just reiterate what Gaito said, but this is how I see it, okay? Shimariam nakuwa na hapo, like mara moja. Karibu sana. And if you want to get to the studio, I can get you in the studio. If you want to say something, you want to share something with me, or news, or whatever is happening right now, tutakuwekea link uingie mara moja na utuambie mambo inaendelea. Kuna nini Tuesday? Ani sijua kwa wapi. But anyway, so let's get back to Gachagua. Gachagua, let me paint the picture. If you look at hindsight is 2020, right? If you analyze, okay, what transpired in 2024, June 25th, okay? Leading up to June 25th, of course, remember, Ruto would conveniently leave the country before any maandamano that was to take place. Hizo maposta zilikuwa zinaanguka na watu wanakutana downtown or whatever the case is, Occupy, whatever, all cities, all states, all cities in Kenya, okay? Or every provincial area. Si unakumbuka? And Gachagua will be the one who is in charge. Tulikuwa tunamwona hapo na video inaonyesha Gachagua ametoka hapo, ameamka saa 11 asubuhi. He's ready to crush the Gen Zs that are actually destroying this country, yeah? Si unakumbuka? But anyway, times have moved so fast. So what happens is this. June 25th happened. Let me just fast forward real quick. June 25th happens, and it scares the hell out of the political class. They are scared shitless because they've never seen, it has never been, I mean, since Sabasaba, we haven't seen anything like this. I think even Sabasaba, they did not get to this point. These guys really pushed the envelope, and it scared the political class shitless because they did not know how far this thing is going to go. They knew that it was going to be a protest. The topic ni hapo inaonyesha how Gachagua's impeachment was the ploy to pacify the Gen Zs, okay? So anyway, so June 25th happened, and we all saw what happened. You know, the young folks went to the parliament and they did what they did, and it grabbed the world headlines. Everyone is shocked what is happening in Kenya. Was it a possible coup d'etat? The army didn't come out that day. They may give up politics. Aki, I'm tired. Politics is part of life. Nani for she Mariam, ebuweka like apple, but just to you cannot be tired of politics because politics is part of life. Politics is about power. How power inakuwa divided among in the society, how we govern ourselves, and it affects every facet of our lives. Okay, if you're talking about healthcare, ndio hiyo mambo ya SHA imechukuliwa hapo. If you're talking about economy, ndio hiyo mambo ya Trans Nzoia sugar inaendelea huko, Ruto anauzia rai ama whatever the case is. Ukiongea mambo ya debt, Ruto anaomba pesa na anaweka kwa mfuko yake na anatuambia sisi ndio tutalipa. You see what I'm saying? So it affects every part, every aspect of your life. Ndio maana siasa hawezi kuchoka. Siasa itaendelea mpaka Yesu arudi. Siasa ndio, hiyo ni siasa. Whether it's local or international, it all affects us. Even what happens in Russia might not affect us directly, but indirectly it might. So it's always good to at least have an idea of what's going on. Ndio maana we talk about politics every day, okay? Watu hawasikii, sijui wanataka nini. Watu wanasikia, wacha nikwambie. Let me tell you something. Unaweza kufikiria watu hawasikii, but watu wanasikia polepole tu. Polepole tu. Unajua hii kitu inachukuanga time ndio watu wakwae kwa page moja, because there's a lot of people there are people who don't know about a channel called Kenya Revolutionary. They don't know people they don't know mtu anaitwa Gaito. They don't know who anaitwa. You see, but it catches up with time, okay? Inachukua time. That's why we do this. We are preaching the gospel here. Unaona? So and other channels or personalities that are on X, people are watu wanakusanyika pole pole. It takes time. Haitafanyika kwa siku moja. Revolution cannot take place in one day. It takes time, okay? So usikufe moyo Shimariam. Hata kama kuna confusion na akina Kasmuel na Gachagua na watu wengine, they'll be weeded out with time. They shall be exposed and watakuwa weeded out. Na ukweli itasimama imara. So like I said, okay, let's go back to what I was talking about. Let me get to the point real quick because I won't stay here for long. Niko na mambo ya kufanya. Namwona Principal Kaur, karibu sana. Please go ahead and like the video. Unajua the first order of business. So let's go back to Gachagua, okay? So the political class, and now to be specific, I know most of you mnaweza kusikia ati political class, and you're asking, who is this political class? Kwani ni wakina nani hao? Political class ni hao, say, these oligarchs, basically. In Kenya, the oligarchs are actively involved in politics. Unajua kama, for example, in the Western world, let's say in US, the oligarchs do not necessarily directly involve themselves in the day-to-day political nuances of the day or talks of the day, okay? They sponsor their own candidates, so to speak. That's why you have this APAC and every PACs that you're there, okay? These are the organizations who kind of back up a candidate who is aligned to their agenda, whether it's a political position, political philosophy, or what they want that specific politician to advocate for once they win the elections, okay? That's why they give them a bunch of millions and trillions, not trillions, but millions for their campaign, okay? So that's how it works out. But in Kenya, the oligarchs, okay, they want to involve themselves in politics directly because they want that, what do you call it? That dopamine, ile fame that comes with it. In a society like US, okay, or Europe, politicians are not popular. Nobody goes out there and unaweza kupata politician and a ride bike to the office, and nobody cares. You can be on the on SGR, yeah, Washington DC. Ukienda kazini na politician ndio huyo is beside you, and no one is going crazy taking a picture with them or what, because they're not. People don't look at them as, celebrities. Nobody cares, okay? What they care about is that their interests are, wanna advocate their interest of the people of their constituency, okay? Karibuni sana. Shimariama anasema mahali imefika siku ya kura, mfungie wazazi wasiende kupiga kura na ataka ikiwezekana mfiche kura zao. Okay. So anyway, so like I was saying, in Kenya, the oligarchs, members of the oligarchs, these rich, corrupt, majority of them are corrupt because they earn their money through corrupt deals. The quickest way of getting rich in Kenya is have a government contract with the government. That's how the Wanjigis made money, okay? That's why if I hear him talk about all this debt, it's a beautiful talk. It's a wonderful, interesting take. But at the end of the day, he is part of this problem that we face, okay? Indirectly or directly. So what I'm saying is this: these oligarchs, okay? Because if you look at Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, Moi family, Ruto now, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo Musyoka, okay, Matiang'i. You see that these guys became billionaires once they joined government. Why do you think so? Because government, they use their position as the CS or whatever the case is, to do some shady deals that earn them billions in such a short period of time. That's why they always fight and kill each other and do whatever they want, they can, possibly in their power, to become, get the top seat, because they know the bigger the seat I receive, the quicker I become a billionaire. That's why you see the Babu Owinos, they want to run for MP. When they become MP, I'm not saying that Babu Owino whatever, but he is kind of, that's how he got his millions, okay? So anyway, so let's get back to Nani. So the oligarchs, who are the political class, okay? They have a deal. And there's layers, there's a hierarchy into this, okay? Like, for example, at the very top, we have the Kenyattas, okay? Then we have the Moi family, okay? Then we have the Odinga family, Wakina Njonjo, whatever the case is. There are a bunch of them, okay? Even Wakina Jimmy Wanjigi, and the rest, the Kibaki family, whatever, all of them. You understand what I'm saying? But in a political sense, in the political field, let me just use the political field. The hierarchical ladder setup is the Kenyattas are at the very top. I told you, these guys are directly, connected with the British crown, okay? They do the bidding for the British. They have the say. Mambo kienda mbaya, they step in and things will go their way, okay? All right? So then we have the Moi family, okay? Then Raila, the Odinga family, okay? Raila Odinga, let me just use Raila Odinga, because once Raila leaves the political scene, I'm telling you, no one will care about the Odinga family, because Oburu is not as influential, and definitely his kids are not anything to be excited about. Anyway, so let's get back to it. So these guys have huge influence, and the reason why we usually say that they have an incestuous relationship within the oligarch, you find that if you do your investigation, you'll find that the Raila family, the Odinga family does business with the Kenyatta family family does business with the Moi family does the business with Gachagua and with Kalonzo and with Martha Karua, and you see what I'm saying? So they have business interest, and they understand that they understand. What did you say? Ati sura kama? Sura kazi siku. Anyway, and they understand that if power shifts from the oligarchs to the proletarian, they lose all these businesses, what actually keeps them afloat, their income, their comfort zone. Because if the people, watu wa mkono, the local man, watu wakipata true power, if they're truly empowered and they get to, as the constitution, gives them that sovereign power, if the majority of Kenyans follow and have this constitution follow to the T, these political oligarchs of Kenya shall lose their power and their businesses. Because if we are to look at the constitution demands that we actually, look at our debt, see how much we owe, how the money that was borrowed on the behalf of the state, how it was acquired. All these tenders, we shall be looking at this tender. How did it come about? Watu wanakata ninio, wanakata vitu, whatever, wanakata the deforestation that's happening. All that stuff we'll be looking at. And they know if we do this audit, they are going to be in trouble, because that's how they made their billions, and that's how they keep on siphoning all this wealth from the natural resources that are supposed to benefit the people, but they do that to only benefit them, and they throw you the trinkets. Tokenism. Wanakutumia 200 hapa, 527, all this to go and James is always angry. James, karibu sana. What's going on here? Naona watu wanakaa Mungiki huku. Yeah, maybe kuna version ya Mungiki. Yeah, my hair is kind of messed up, but whatever. But anyway, so that's what I'm saying. So if the constitution ikifuatiliwa vile inafaa kufuatiliwa katiba, it will basically put these people in jail, and that's what they're avoiding. So to get back to helping you understand how Gachagua's impeachment was a ploy to pacify the Gen Zs, here is how they did it. They understood that the country was captured. The country's mood was captured by the Gen Z movement on the street on June 2025, okay? So they came up with a plan that will help pacify and disintegrate this movement, to fragment it. And they did it in different ways. The main method that they used to pacify this Gen Z movement was to use Gachagua's impeachment. Okay? Now, like I usually tell you, Ruto and Gachagua are not enemies. Do not be fooled. This is a ploy. It's a game. It's a charade. They're playing you. They're playing to the public gallery, to the gallery. Okay. So Ruto, like his predecessor, okay, did what he knew or understood would divide Kenyans, and will try to use it to actually divide the Gen Z movement. Number one, he went along and, engineered this whole impeachment plan here, Gachagua. But before he impeached Gachagua, remember, Gen Z, after all that, June 25th, okay, and the maandamano ambao zilifuatilia hiyo siku, okay, Raila alienda kashikana na Ruto to do what? To pass the IBC amendment bill. And in that meeting, when Kalonzo was present, Raila was present, Ruto was present, okay, it was meant to show the public that now Raila officially comes to Ruto's aid. They are going to become allies politically. Then Raila purported to have came to Ruto's rescue because the country was trying to take him out. The majority of the people's revolution was in place. So now that they started calling themselves brother and brother again after the maandamano that preceded that and the talks thereafter of NADCO and the report that Kalonzo presided over and Kimani Ichung'wah, among others, Aaron Cheriot, and the rest of the idiots that sat at Bomas, okay? Now, they showed the Kenyan people that Raila and Ruto are on the same side of the political aisle, okay? That's when the ODM folks, okay, some of them were pissed off. And at the same time, this was all about, AU nonsense. I told you, the AU nonsense was a payment deal. Raila wasn't a serious candidate. He knew he was not qualified. Raila is not qualified to do anything. Anyway, let's just not lose focus here. But it was a ploy. That whole AU thing was a payment plan for him coming on to Ruto's rescue and agreeing to that NADCO. But anyway, let's move forward. So how did they do it? The country's focus was, because remember, it was Occupy Parliament, Reject Finance Bill, okay? But it turned into something that worried the political class, which was Occupy State House. Ruto must go. Which translation is Ruto must be removed through people's popular revolution. Now, this sent shivers down the Ruto's administration, not only Ruto's administration, but the political class as a whole, because they understood If Ruto was to removed through popular people's revolution, they did not have control of who will take over if the general public takes Ruto out. You know, now if you go to elections, they understand even if Ruto lose, Matiang'i, who is their preferred candidate, will take over and it will be business as usual. But if we have a people's revolution, they are not in control of who will take over. And that scares them because they understand the people might choose someone who will definitely come for them. So, this is the play. Raila comes and wanakuwa kama ninio chete na chanda na whatever, pete. They come together, right? Raila and Ruto. Okay, everyone is mad. And then rumors ikaanza ati now that Raila ameingia na Ruto, ati they are planning to take Gachagua out, to impeach Gachagua. The whole idea of Raila coming with Ruto was to do what? To plant the seed, not even to plant the seed, to revitalize the hateful, ethnocentric politics that has been existed, that was dying down, that was being slaughtered. That monster called tribalism was being slaughtered by the Gen Zs, because Gen Zs were emboldened and empowered in the name of being tribeless, partyless, and what? And leaderless. The very method that has been used by the political oligarchs since independence, the so-called fake independence that's happened in 1963. The handing over of the British direct power to the indirectly, to have indirect power through these minions. Okay? So, once Raila and Ruto came together, they started impeaching Ruto, the process of impeaching Ruto. And we know the process was what? Unconstitutional. They did it and they knew it was unconstitutional and they did not care. But during this time, something interesting was happening, something that we all saw. They were putting fire. They were exacerbating the situation, the tribal difference between Gachagua and Ruto and Raila, because the idea was they understand how emotive, how divisive, how vile the vitriol that comes with tribal politics. If you want to have Kenyans make irrational decisions, appeal to their parochial tribal politics. And that's what these demagogues always do. That's why you see Matiang'i starts with key C and say, Abaguzi people, my people. It's time for us to even capture this national seat because we've been ostracized. Why can't he start his campaign in Nairobi, where we have, every tribe lives in Nairobi, whether it's Luya, Luos, Kalenjins, whatever, Wakikuyu, all that stuff. Why can't they launch there? Why can't he launch his campaign in Nairobi? Because he's used to what we are used to, what we've grown up doing. Ukabila. So that's where he started in Kisii. But back to Gachagua. So during that process of impeaching Gachagua, it was quickly, expeditiously executed. And during that time, you could hear the imbeciles like Kaluma, Ogoda, Opio and I, who are making the loudest voice, speaking against the Kikuyu community. Oh, those they've enjoyed times, nini wamesha nini hao ndio wamekuwa kwa power. They don't like it, the fact that we are now in the government. And Gachagua was doing the damage on the other side by continuing his rhetoric of sisi watu wa mlima. We are not going to be left outside the table. We are not going to be ninio. We shall stand. You see what I'm saying? But by doing so, they are playing into your conscience, your feelings, your emotions. affecting the youth, because they understand this is what you've been spoon-fed with this tribal politics since birth. And a lot of people fell off the way from the Gen Z movement because the country saw how unconstitutional the impeachment process by Gachagua was, and they felt not sorry for him per se, but sided with him because by the fact that this guy was being removed in office, not based on merit because he did something wrong, but because they just wanted him out. That's why people started saying, Kufa Makanga, Kufa Dereva. But the agenda was to heighten tribal politics. The temperature ya siasa ya ukabila. And they successfully did so. Okay, they did so. That's why Gaucho was picking things that should be land him in jail. And now, wakaanza kusema kuwa hii Gen Z ni mambo ya Mount Kenya. This Gen Z si wa Kenya. Hii ni watu wa Mount Kenya. And even Gachagua tried to own that Gen Z movement by saying, you remember with Mpuru, Rogers Mpuru, when they were speaking somewhere at the roadside, started saying that hawajui lakini sisi ndio watu ambao tulikuwa tunalipa hawa ma Gen Z. Because they want that Gen Z movement to be theirs. They want to totally be in control of it. Okay? Then Ruto was saying, oh, some people, wengine wanakuwa nasema ati watu wa ODM wa Korenio are in that Gen Z. You see what I'm saying? They were pulling all this youth that came together as Kenyans, who are tribeless, leaderless, and partyless. They're pulling them in all sorts of direction. The ones that come to Mount Kenya, the youths or Gen Zs that come from Mount Kenya were being persuaded by this Gachagua wave because they were looking at the media and they're looking their constitutional nature in which Gachagua was impeached, and they felt some type of way about it. So they started rallying around him, and that's why they were excited every time Gachagua was having a public rally. And then they had those fake tear gas that they were claiming that was interrupting Gachagua's political meetings. Those were fake. And like I've always said, there's no one in the history of Kenya that can say things that are contrary or vile or calling the president a liar and have the mainstream media cover it. I give the example of Miguna. Miguna, when he was speaking against Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta and the handshake government, exposing how these guys were brutal and corrupt, they blackballed him from every media station. Not only that, they forcefully removed him from the country. But Gachagua and his family has never faced such thing. This guy is having 2-hour, prime time slot in mainstream media to spew his nonsense about Ruto, and nothing happens. He never gets arrested. He's not harassed, nothing. We know that's not the modus operandi of this corrupt regime or corrupt system. Every president, even Ruto himself, you speak smack about Ruto, you will find yourself in a dungeon somewhere, or Kware, or whatever the case is, your body dumped or tortured by Farouk. We know that. But this guy is walking around with his chest out, talking his talk like nothing is going to happen with him. You saw his speech in Nino. That's why I'm telling you, this whole thing was choreographed. And it was done to totally kill the Gen Z movement. This idea of Kenyans coming together, not just young Kenyans, but all Kenyans coming together with this idea of not being based on tribe, being leaderless, and being partyless, because they understood it is these very parties that produces these imbeciles, these corrupt, vile humans that are driving us into an economic ditch, violating our human rights, breaching every law in the books, ripped the Constitution apart. This is what we are talking about. Not to mention the unbridled greed, corrupt deals, nepotism, extrajudicial killings, abductions. I can go on and on. These political parties are not the solution. The tribal leaders are not the solution. Okay? So, leaderless, partyless, and tribeless. Nice seeing you, Gypsy Corner. Go ahead and bless me with your like. Hit that like button. So you see what I'm saying? So, to counter that tribeless, leaderless, and partyless, okay, to counter that, they decided to play the tribal card. They decided to play the tribal card by doing exactly the opposite of what the Gen Z were doing, which is heighten the political tension based on tribal arrangements and groupings. So Gachagua went to Mount Kenya and said, munaona vile wanatutesa sisi watu wa Mount Kenya, munaona vile they're killing the coffee. Yeah? Ruto ameiba coffee hapa, sijui anafanya nini. Sisi wa vijana wetu wanauliwa huko Githurai. And Opio and I, Kaluma, and all those other idiots on the Nyanza side are saying, oh, you see, those Kikuyus, they don't like the fact that we are in government today. And Waluya are also standing up and saying, hey, we've been supporting these Luos for a long time. There's a time they were even arguing it is now Bantus versus Nilots. Shi Mariam namona ameingia hapo. Acha nisikie nini. Karibu Shi. Shikamoo mwanangu.
Hai.
Hai.
Marhaba, sijambo.
Haya basi, nieleze. Toa yote kwa kifua leo.
Me, I'm tired.
Uko tired already?
I'm tired though.
You're tired though.
Wakenya hatujielewi, sijui tunaenda wapi, hatujielewi tunaenda wapi, tunatoka wapi, tuna mwelekeo gani? Yaani tumekuwa confused elements. Tunapiga Makaule, tunapiga Morala, tunapiga Jimmy Wajige, sijui tunapiga nani. Hawa wakora na wezi ndio tunapigia makofi kule Githurai. Huh? What do we want as Kenyans? Tunataka nini? And as if I'm used to support Gen Zs, but now I'm no longer supporting them. Now I'm only supporting my family. So, for now, like we always say, power is taken, power is not given. We keep on saying we don't want Matiang'i, we don't want one term, we don't want whatever the orphan, the Kano orphans, huh? We don't want them. But we are not willing to vie for the seats. So, niambie we KR, nini, anaitwa nani? Rigiji ashinde akipayuka Githurai, ashinde akipauka kule kwote, alafu mimi kama mimi hapa Wanjiko nitoke nimwambie sasa mimi ndo nataka kuwa president. Will it work? Is it possible?
No.
Obviously not. So, lazima pia mimi nijitume, nataka. And if I don't know if that increases exists. If we cannot beat them, join them. You have to be there. Hata kama you are not supporting them, you have to be there. Okay, we don't want them. Who do we want? Juzi Lumumba ameambiwa basi you vie for president because you are brilliant minds sijui nini, lakini akasema hata nikitaka kuvie they always go to the tribal. So now hatutaki Matiang'i for you. Sasa wewe unataka nani? Hebu wewe mwanzo nikuulize, who do you want?
Mimi nataka unaona vile tulikusanyika June 25th tukaenda parliament tukawafukuza. Sasa nataka tukusanyike tena. Tuende State House. Tumtoe Ruto. Tuseme serikali ya Ruto haiko hawako ushukanini. Yani he's no longer the president of Kenya. Alafu sikia.
He's no longer the president.
Yes, akishakimbia. Alafu sisi kama wananchi tutachagua komiti ya watu 8 ya kurepresent all the provinces ambao watakuwa an interim government. Au ndio watakuwa wanaangalia maninio the administrative part of government for the next 2 years as we prepare, or it doesn't have to be 2 years, it can be 1 year or 6 months as we prepare for the next election. So hawa watu 8 watakuwa in charge of the administrative part of government. Bado tuko na judiciary, Koome bado atakaa pale, lakini hawa watu 8 from every provinces watakuwa ambao wanaangalia mambo vile inaendelea katika hizi province zote. Alafu tunaenda election in maybe 3 or 6 months, whichever way it's feasible, okay? Ndio sasa tukuwa in a general election, na before tufike hiyo election, while we are preparing these 8 people, hao ndio wataconsult wananchi to choose the next IEBC that have been approved by the people. Si IEBC ambayo Ruto amechagua hapo ya marafiki zake wanaenda kuhesabu kura. Naelewa? So tukifanya hivyo, hiyo ndio itaguarantee sauti ya wananchi inasikika. Unaona? Lakini sisi tukianza kusema sijui haya tumchague Matiang'i, mara Morara, mara sijui Kasmuel, mara sijui nani. Sasa tukiangalia tukiangalia IEBC ndio hiyo.
Okay, just assume now. Sahi, we don't have even threats. It have been turned out to be that the KDF are our enemies. So even if you are going to the street, who is going to defend us? They are going to kill us. And do you think that for now Ruto will agree people to protest? Kama watu wana protest juu ya Mumias, kampuni ya Mumias wanapigwa marisasi, do you think for now Ruto will agree any protest in Kenya? Like right now. Tuta nini kama kuku. Okay, and if that happens, let's assume it will happen. For now tuseme kesho ni 2027. Juu nasema sijui war whatever. You know, like Senegal for example, when they were doing their thing, they had that one person who was in prison. They knew even if the government will fall, we have that someone, and you are going to pick from somewhere to the Simuratewa to wherever he is to keep Braturi. They had that someone. Like for now, if you are going to do that election, do you have anyone? Hamna. Muko tu mukibishana tu huku kwa internet. Hamna.
Nasema hivi. Hii election isha renew. Hii election it has been won by Ruto already. Ndio maana nasema hata mkichagua nani, hata mchague sijui, hata tumchague Mungaya kwa presidential president wetu, na Wakenya wote waseme ati haya tunataka akwae ninio. Hautashinda, maana nasema hivi, the whole system imekuwa corrupted. Ukiangalia IEBC shapangwa. Ukiona haya, uliona UDA wameanza kushikana na wa Uganda, ile chama cha Museveni. Why? Nani Kasongo akiona ati anashindwa, ataleta wa Uganda kutoka kwa Uganda huko, wapite Busia wakuje huku waanze kumpigia kura, alafu atasema ati ameshinda. Sasa mimi nasema hivi, hata mkichagua nani sasa hivi,
I see deja ahead.
Ndio maana
nasema I see deja ahead.
Yeah. So hata mchague nani sasa hizi, hata election ikuwe kesho ama kesho kutwa, as long as we have an IEBC which is a product of this system. Kumbuka wali change the law ya IEBC ya kusema wanaweza kuwa na mobile voting station. So wewe unaweza kupata lori na kuja kutoka Uganda imejaa na kura ya Ruto. Waelewa? Sasa ndio maana mimi nasema hivi.
You see this election, it will be a lot of casualties, like Junet Mohammed say, it will be a lot of casualties and whatever. But me, if you are not to be careful, ushaona tushaanza kuingia nini constitution crisis. Tumeanza kuingia. Tunaingia wana penetrate pole alafu at the end of the day we go back to 2008, 2007, may God forbid. But that is where we are heading, because the people that we are now, we are educated and people are willing to protect their votes from the polling station, and they will not agree, because wanasema hata tukiona kwa TV ati Ruto amepata kula laki moja, atatuambia ametoa wapi? Sasa si ushaona already ashatuingiza kwa crisis already, and it is penetrating pole. At the other side we have Raila. Ushaona sasa watu hawajui ni Raila, where will we go, because they are saying they have their own candidate. Gen Z, they have their own candidate who even for now they don't know who is he or who is she. Hawajui already. Tayari nani ashajipanga kitambo, anasema hiyo mambo ya 2027 atakuwa amejipanga, na anatuita sana my friend. Atakuwa ameshajipanga. So what are we going to do? It's either tuende inakuwe, either tuamue tuende KDF ama yani tuwe na ujasiri. Mimi hata nilikuwa saa zingine na imagine mavitu zingine hapa, na imagine it may be possible or not possible. Tutafuta wanyanya, mababu na mabibi au wazee, tuwaweke front line. Tukienda hiyo maandamano tuwavute kwa nyumba, tuende front line. At least the police and the KDF will have pity on them, even though I don't know, because sijui kama wanakunywanga whatever they drink there. At least we will be able to demonstrate why we are with them. But tukienda hivi kimasomaso, alright, we will not succeed. Nakwambia Ruto will never accept any maandamano in Kenya, never again. We will not. Lakini tutachinjwa.
Hata kama hataki kuaccept maandamano mengine, he has no choice. Watu wakiamua, wananchi wakiamua kuwa wanataka kuwa na maandamano na wafanye vile walifanya June 25th, there's nothing Ruto can do. Now nakubali kuwa atatuma mapolisi na maybe KDF, some parts of KDF, kwa sababu mimi vile naiona hata hao KDF ambao walikuwa naua watu, it's not the whole army that was killing people. I strongly believe it was a faction of a specialized group in the army ambao walitumwa kufanya hiyo kuua watu. Ndio nasema watu wakijitoa kwa wengi wakienda
sahi kama nisikutoka ni tuamue mpaka wazazi wetu, watu wametoka hospitalini kuzaa, wao wa mama watoke the front line with their babies on their back.
Yeah.
At least that will be possible. By the way, there is no demon, even the demon will pity the child.
Ruto sijui kata. Uliona sio wale marafiki zake wa RFK vile wanaua wa mama na watoto huko Sudan.
Subhanallah, wallahi subhanallah, yasikitisha kweli.
Yeah, so ukweli ni kuwa ndio Ruto anaweza kuwa watu tukienda maandamano, lakini mwishowe itambidi aondoke. Maana hata ukiangalia vile Bangladesh walifanya, watu wa Bangladesh walijitokeza wakasema enough is enough. Yule prime minister ambao huyo mama prime minister alituma majeshi, akatuma polisi, mapolisi walikuwa wanaua watu, lakini nini wakaishiwa na marisasi. Alafu akatuma jeshi kamwambia wajua nini, hawa watu ni wengi na wamesema wamekataa mpaka uondoke. Wakamwambia tunapatia dakika 45, ingia kwa ndege uende, ukienda India enda, hata ukitaka kwenda Uganda enda, lakini wananchi wamesema enough is enough, mpaka ushuke, mpaka utoke. So the same thing can be done. Tukienda huko popular revolution, because it's legal, it's in the constitution. There's nothing illegal about maandamano, popular revolution.
And do you think the so-called KDF will agree? Do you think that those so-called KDF will agree?
Ndio nakwambia, wacha nikwambie watu milioni 1 wakienda Nairobi hapo, KDF itaua watu milioni 1.
You know, we were targeting the financial bill. That is what we have been targeting. And they have wamekuwa 5 steps ahead of us. Sasa ndo wanakuja hao mbadi, unamwona kishinda akizunguka Jivanji kuelewesha watu sijui nini akiwaambia vitu vya uongo, vitu venye siko. They are telling us what you want us to hear, but in real sense they are going to cut our pay slips wenye wako na pay slips even though mimi sina. So mimi nilikuwa nanunuliwa Bluebird size sioni, tunakula magwashe huku sijui nini, unless mtu wa pay slip, mama boga, mama uji, fulani watoto wa shule, unless tuamue ni kutokelezea, si mkubwa si mdogo, kila mtu atokelezee, that one will win.
Yeah. Sasa ndio maana mimi nasema hivi, the reason why hawataki turudi maandamano ama wanaogopa tusirudi maandamano, saa their plan ni kuwa wanakuja wanashikana kama hao mababe wakina Raila, Gachagua, sijui nani, wanasema haya wewe enda ujifanye wewe ndio mkubwa wa Mount Kenya huko. Wewe Raila kaa huko ujifanye wewe ndio mtu wa Nyanza huko. Haya wewe sijui Selassie nao anza kusimama huko Western. Wewe sijui nani Matiang'i enda huko Kisii. Sasa ndio itawanyisha hao wa Gen Z. Ndio tusiungane pamoja twende kwa ninio, twende maandamano. Hiyo ndio naogopa. Maana wanaelewa tukishikana pamoja twende maandamano tuseme Ruto mpaka aondoke, itambidi aondoke apende asipende. Sasa the trick ni kuwa waanze kushikana, waanze kuleta hizi siasa za ujinga, sijui hawa Kikuyu nini, sijui Wajaluo nini, sijui Waluya sijui nini. Maana hataki tushikane pamoja. That's the ninio. Kwa sababu wamejua watu wamechoka na hawa kina Matiang'i, wamechoka na Raila, wamechoka na Ruto, wamechoka na sijui Martha Karua.
Yeah, they know. We don't want anything about them. Yeah,
exactly. Sure. Sawa wanataka tu election, lakini election like I said, election
tutakuwa tumekufa jamani. Unasikia ati hakuna pesa za exam.
Murkomen alizikula.
Imagine ati hakuna pesa za exam. Yaani wanataka tu wajinga waongezeke hii Kenya. Lakini kuna pesa za kuongeza State House, kuna pesa za kurenovate State House, to make the matter worse. ARVs zinatengenezwa Kenya, zimefichwa kwa hiyo store yao. To make the matter worse, wanasema hakuna dawa lakini zinauzwa Zimbabwe, sijui ni Zimbabwe, sijui ni Zambia. Zinapelekwa huko. Huko watoto wa watu wanaachwa, mkitaka kufa mfe. That is the country that we have. Yani wana mispriority. Sijui wanataka nini. I don't know what they want. See health system, see education. Imagine hakuna pesa za exam na za food kwa shule. Lakini chai na mandazi ya milioni 3 inapatikana.
Ati chai ya milioni ngapi?
Si State House wanakunywa chai na mandazi ya milioni 3. Huko sikia. Wallahi State House hata si milioni 3, sijui ni milioni ngapi State House. Chai na mandazi mahamri yenye mimi nanunua dala hapa.
Hata mimi nataka kuionja hiyo mandazi ya milioni 3.
Hebu Gypsy aongee hapo. Hebu muulize Gypsy hapo. Sijui na Mr. Kauli.
Haya, Bombe
acha niangalie.
Bombe anatuambia ati Wanjigi and Maraga will take us places.
It's okay, but are we willing to give them our vote? Hiyo ndio swali.
Hata tukiwapatia hiyo vote ndio nasema.
Gypsy, nimeuliza swali gani? Lazima niulize. Because hapa
alikuwa anasema nini hapa? Alikuwa anasema you don't disappoint asking the difficult questions. Okay.
Lazima niulize.
Uliza maswali.
So lazima mjipange, mjue mnataka nini, where do you want you to go and where you are coming from, because the system isha succeed to divert us from our main issues. Isha success ku divert Gen Z, imewaporomosha, hawaelewani. Ukiona mtu anainua tu pembe tu anagongwa tu na nyundo asiamke. So mimi naona tu, if you are not careful, Zakayo ataamka asubuhi na akae State House na hakuna kitu mtafanya na mtalia. Wacha sasa tunalia. Tunalia na I want to be re-elected. What if the last 5 years atafanya nini?
So ndio mimi nasema hivi, sasa tukijua kwa hawa watu hawa mababe wanajaribu kututenganisha. So ni wajibu wetu kama Wakenya ama vijana ama Gen Z tuungane pamoja, turudi maandamano, maana maandamano peke yake ndio inaweza kufanya. Ukiona June 25th ndio ilifanya waibwage hiyo finance bill, ili watetesha wakaanza kuwa na wakaanza kuwa na wasiwasi. So it is maandamano that is effective, that makes them not only change but
that is the language they always understand. Hiyo ndio language wataelewa. So
ndio maana nasema sasa vile tumejua hawa wanatuchezea, why can't we do what we did and be tribeless, leaderless and partyless? Tuungane kama Wakenya, tuseme enough is enough. Kasongo ashuke na hiyo serikali yake yote na hao wanabunge wote, sisi tuanze kuchagua
washuke.
Sasa ndio mimi nasema hivi, forget about mkitaka kwenda election mimi nawaambia hivi, hata mkienda hii election ya 2020
and if na kama ni kwenda election, we have to front our leader mwenye tunataka juu sahi. We don't want them but we don't have our own. We don't want them but we don't have our own.
Hata tukiwa na our own, mimi nasema hivi, hii election itakuwa vita. Maana vile nimesema IBC ni ya Ruto, IBC ni ya Ruto. Sa ata announce ati ameshinda, alafu nini?
By the way, let me cut you short. Let me interject here. Where do you place Laila at this point? Where do you place him? Laila. In this circle of IBC, and he has been saying they'll have their own candidate. Where do you place him? Because amenyamaza tu, haongei, sijui hata yeye ana mpango gani. He's either in government or not in government, ama aende Bondo retire.
Mi Raila nikimwangalia, Raila ni mtu he's not relevant anymore. Number 2, Raila's aim ni whichever serikali itakuwa, the next serikali ambayo inakuja, whether it's Ruto re-election ama Matiang'i ama whoever it is, Raila atajaribu njia na mbinu ya kufanya nini? Ya kuingia broad base ama handshake ama whatever it is. Maana hiyo ndio tabia zake. Unaona? I don't think he's interested. Maybe anaweza he might stand to run for president or whatever the case is. Ama ataenda kusupport Ruto or whoever is going to support. Lakini he knows he won't win. But all I'm saying is this. Raila's aim, Raila's goal is to be part of the next government or whoever is going to win. Whoever is going to president, Raila tatafuta.
He's always penetrating like a penis. Always penetrating like a penis everywhere. Astaghfirullah.
Ndio maana nasema hivi, the only way tunaweza kuzuia from penetrating the next government, kuingia nyuma or whatever mbele or whatever the case is, ni kuwa na serikali ambayo imechaguliwa na wananchi, kwa sababu nao ameshajionyesha kuwa yeye si mtu wa kuaminiwa. Waona? So Ruto akishinda, bado Raila atakuwa serikali. Nani akishinda, Matiang'i akishinda, bado Raila atakuwa serikalini. Maraga sijui nani, Jimmy Wanjigi, bado Raila atakuwa serikali. Kwa sababu they are part of the same rot. So it doesn't matter who will be president if we keep on with the same system. Raila atajipata kwa serikali kwa sababu he knows how to lakini wananchi wakisimama na wachague their own leaders.
Their own.
Hapo ndio sasa hataweza kuingia, maana wananchi ndio wamewachagua. Lakini hawa majamaa wamejipanga, ndio maana unaona hiyo IBC. Raila hasemi kitu maana amejua nini? Ameshajua mshindi atakuwa ni nani na atakuwa kwa hiyo serikali. That's why he's not talking. He's not opposing this IBC. He knows the plan. Ona. Ndio maana if you're looking at it in the national political sphere, I don't think he's a big factor as of right now. He will make himself a factor after or during or when elections inakaribia, ndio utaanza kumsikia akipiga makelele. Ndio maana ukiangalia ODM ODM have one leg one leg in the government and one leg out. Sa anatumia kina Orengo na Sifuna kupiga makelele kuninio kumkosoa kwa Songo, na huku wako na kina Opio Andai na Mbadi wakiimba
na Oburu wake, the youth leader, his brother.
Exactly. The youth leader. So on. So he's doing that. He's doing that knowing that tukikaribia uchaguzi, if he decides to run in 2027 atasema haya unaona sisi tuliamwambia Ruto aache kuninio kuteka nyara watu nyara.
Ile MO yetu alikataa kutimiza, alitusaliti, hakutimiza ile mambo tuliagreeana. The most honorable thing that I will do ever in history. Nikifika 2027 nasema, my Kenyans people, thanks for supporting me, I've been supporting you, let me go and rest in peace. Mkitaka mawaidha kujeni Bondo, I'll give you the advice. But to be in the government again, we still have a long way to go. It is not an easy journey.
Raila amependa sifa ndogo. Si nilimwona akienda kukutana, alienda kukutana na huyo rais wa Finland. Si nilimwona alijipeleka huko na
mimi hata hiyo after the Kasongo man vile niliona hiyo clip, hata I never knew the Finland guy was in Kenya until I saw the clip at all the abductees were returned to their mothers. Hapo ndo hata nikasirika. I never wanted to siku interested in whatever it is happening there or what is going there. I was so mad. So, knowing very well that like yesterday I had a mother crying on the television saying that she never saw his son from June 2024, and here the pathological eye is saying, oh, the adoptees are all returned to their mothers. What a shame. Even he is not even tricking his eye, lying.
So
yani anadanganya tu, sijui alikuwa anaseduce huyo Finland ndo ampatie loan.
Hajali, unajua Ruto at this point hajali, ndio maana anasema kama Raila yeye kitu.
Sasa hebu imagine kama sahi hajali anaongea hivyo to seduce the white man, to seduce what if akipata hiyo 2032, na mimi ndaona hapo ndo naona mimi hapo ndo tutaenda and na nchi itaanza kubadilika 2032. That is where Kenya will start changing pole because for now I don't see the willing of the people.
I don't think the only way we tunaweza tukachange hata hiyo 2032 haita change. Wacha niwaambie, if kama sisi wa Kenya tusipoenda maandamano na tumtoe Ruto na hii the whole system, tusipofanya hivyo tutaenda elections, Ruto atakuwa announce ndio ameshinda, alafu tutakuwa na vita kama ya 2007, alafu tutakuwa na government of national unity vile tulikuwa nayo 2007. Unaona?
Sahi nani Kofi Annan for now? Who will be our Kofi Annan, because the Kofi Annan is long gone.
Si watamtuma huyo jamaa ninio, huyo wa AU, huyo jamaa yaitwa nani? Huyo jamaa wa Iriti ambao alishinda. Watamtuma kuja azungumza.
Tuna shida.
Ndio maana nasema
that's the problem.
Popular revolution, mpaka tushikane pamoja kama Wakenya wote kutoka kabila zote za Kenya washikane, waseme hii system is
all
not
ages.
It's not working. Hii election ni mchezo. Maana after election tutakuwa na vita. After vita wote wakina Matiangi, Raila sijui nini watakuwa kwa serikali. Alafu wataendelea mpaka hata watachange constitution, waseme Ruto asitoke 2032. Ni kijana, wacha endelee mpaka 2055. Unaona? So we have to step up and change this rotten system of corrupt rotten system. We have to have a popular revolution. We have to. People's popular revolution. Mambo mengine ya kusema sijui Matiangi, sijui Morara, sijui, hiyo ni upuzi. Hawa ni watu ambao wamelipwa na Ruto na watu wengine wakuja watoe focus katika hiyo popular revolution. We have to have a popular revolution. Hakuna njia nyingine. Hata wakina Jimmy Wanjigi, wakina Marara.
Ndio maana tunaishi tukitukanwa na Oturi. That old stone that is supposed to be in museum.
Atuole pa kwa wapi?
Museum. Anafaa kwa museum.
It's a fossil.
He's not even, I don't know, even the museum will reject him. We reject him because he's not attractive. So we vile tu umesema, we have to, and saini from all ages, 20, 30, 10 years, 3 months old baby, we have to unite.
Yes,
we have to unite. Kufa kupona.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Or else we have a willing coup, a KDF that will come from Balak or wherever they are and come na ambia, we boss, pack your luggage and go.
Yeah, lakini KDF nao wajua pia wengi wao pia washakuwa co-opted. So hawana historia ya kufanya coup d'etat since 1982.
Ama tu Mungu tu alete tu radi, alete adequate to State House. Wote wakufie tu huko ndani. Why? Nothing is impossible. What God that cannot do does not exist. We can pray. The tears of Kina Rex Masai, the tears of Kina Omodi, the tears of Kina Mama Sijui Furani. God can do any miracle.
Yeah.
Kama alimaliza watu wa Kina Ruth na watu wa Kina Ruth na maji, who is Ruto? Anaweza hata lala na akose kuamka.
Yeah. Zaidi maana anasema sisi kama wananchi mpaka sisi pia tujitahidi. Tujitume na tujitahidi. Yeah.
Yep. Kweli kabisa. Si kuongea tu. Juu hata tunaweza tu kwa tunaongea hapa na hata hawachukui kula. Wako tu yapping on the spaces. Na pengine hawana kula.
Ndio maana nasema sasa hivi hata wasipopiga kura, mimi sina wasiwasi hata wasipochukua ninio kwenda kupiga kura, maana it has been decided. But the next step nataka watu waanze kufanya ni zile maposters za maandamano zianze kurudi. Whoever is making those posters, tafadhali aanza kuzileta tena. Poster irudi ya maandamano, zile posters za X. Tuwe na another maandamano ianze tena, maandamano, watu warudi maandamano. Serikali system yote, this time it's Occupy State House 2025. That is the hashtag. People's Popular Revolution. Mpaka the system cannot be changed by using the very system to elect leaders. You have to change the system, and the only way to change the system is a popular revolution. Anyway, Shimariam, wacha nifunge duka. Sasa hii ni wana mpaka nirudi nifanye kazi kidogo. Ama namna gani?
Haya, sawa funga duka. Inshallah tutaweza patana baadaye ama kesho, Mwenyezi Mungu akijalia.
Next time mpaka waonyeshe sura
jamani, niliambiwa koma.
Nani alikwambia ukome?
Niliambiwa koma, nisiwahi kukuona huko internet ukienda
Nani alikwambia ukome?
Niliambiwa na mzee. Mimi huwa naishigi kighost. I don't put my face on any social media. Mimi ni profile peke yake ya maua, yani hata naishigi tu kighost. Lakini I'll try. Nitajaribu, nitakuja na sura inshallah.
Haya, sawa. Weke sura ndio wakikukujia, hata mimi unajua sawa, kiniua wewe uendelee na kazi.
Mwenyezi Mungu atatustili. Kama hujakula haramu ya mtu, hujakula jasho la mtu, wewe uko safe.
Haya, shukran. Sawa basi, wewe tuonane baadaye.
Inshallah. Haya, bye bye kina Gypsy, kina nani hapo wote. Shukran kwa kuwa live, Gypsy, Bombe, Francis. And huwa unashukuru watu hapa wakiingia live. We use our data.
Exactly.
Na Mr. Kaur. Shukran sana.
Sawa, Bombe, Gypsy Kona. Shimariamu ametupromise next time ataonyesha sura. Ni mrembo, Sam, wanaume mkae hapo mwe ready. Haya, Francis Rungu, Gypsy, Pritpal Kaur, nani mwingine. Haya, nyote, shukran. If you're going to watch on this and repeat, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and all the good stuff. Nashukuru nyote, tuonane baadaye. Weka notification ndio nikiingia utanipata hapo. Haya. Peace and blessings. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.